I don't know about you, but I sometimes like to rearrange my classroom, right? If something is working, that's great. But if something isn't working, I like to rearrange my classroom and see if I can tweak it, and make it better. So one of the things that I struggled with in my new classroom, which is only 13 feet by 13 feet, was finding a nice area for a writing center, because I believe a writing center is so very important for creating children who love to write. And I had a fully dedicated shelf to my writing center for all of my teaching career in the public school, and I wanted that same thing in this classroom, but there just wasn't space. So I brainstormed and thought about it for many months. And finally, I decided that I would create a vertical writing center, because all of the supplies that I had in the writing center didn't need to be laid flat on a shelf. They could be stuck vertically. So I'm going to flip the camera around here, and I'm going to show you what I came up with, and let me know in the comments what you all think. Yes, Shelley. I was in the public school for many years, and I had a nice sized classroom. Of course, at the time, I didn't think it was large, but looking back on it now, it certainly was. And now I have a classroom in my home, and it is 13 feet by 13 feet. So it is a perfect square. Okay, I'm going to turn it around and show you what I came up with. You let me know in the comments below if you like it, and if you know anybody who who has a small classroom and could benefit from a vertical writing center. So here we go. Hi, Abby. Okay, so here's what I came up with. So I love my oil drip pans, right? I have one in my circle area, or my whole group, or my morning meeting, whatever you want to call it. And I thought I had this little space right here, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I got another oil drip pan? They're $10 at your local auto parts store. And if somehow I could find things that were magnetic that I could stick the materials in, right? So first I had to wrap my brain around what I could still have out, what could I have out all the time, and what could I rotate out. So this is what I pared it down to. So now it takes up just a few inches of wall space. It's rather low to the ground, which is why you can see the top part, because I'm holding the camera down as far as I can. But these little cups, let me show you. Now, Tom will drop a link to my writing center as well as my Amazon shop, where you can find something similar. I believe I got these at the Container Store. The magnet on the back is very, very strong. Sometimes I have to use two hands to pull these off. That's how strong they are. But the good news is I found them on Amazon, and they're cheaper. They're a little bit very slightly different in shape, but they function in the same exact way, and they're a little cheaper. So all I did was I made labels for each one of the cups, right? And so now they have their markers readily available. And again, this is fairly low to the ground, so I am holding the camera. I'm going to hold it down like this now as we go further down this oil drip pan. So I have all the colors. And then we have our pencils. I have both the Golf, G-O-L-F, Golf pencils. These are the pencils people use to keep score when they play golf. And then I also have the chubbier cut in half triangular pencils. I don't really know the correct name for those, but they promote proper pencil grasp. So I have both sizes of pencil in there, and then thin markers as well. Sometimes kids respond better to the thin markers. They think they're more adult-like, and maybe they just feel better in their little hands. And then one thing that was really important to me was the whiteboards. But have you ever noticed that the size of a child and then the size of the whiteboard, like the whiteboards are huge in comparison to their little bodies, and they don't really need that big, huge surface. So I found these little whiteboards. I love these. These are from Lakeshore, but of course you can also get shower board cut at any of your home improvement stores. I kept the labels on these in case anyone wanted to see. But these are from Lakeshore, and I love these little mini whiteboards. I found that they were just right for my preschool kiddos. And then, of course, we have our dry erase markers. And then this doesn't look like anything, but it's paper. And so I have a bunch of paper, different colors and so forth in here. And so I just cut it in half because they also don't need a full sheet. I mean, you can put full sheets in there. They have all different sizes of these little magnetic containers. So they did have one that would fit full sheets of paper if that is important to you or required by your program. But I find that half sheets are just fine for kiddos. And so there's colored paper in there as well as white paper. And then on the bottom, I don't know if you can see that or not, those are the rubbing plates that were at the Dollar Tree this summer. And I found all the packs, I think. So there's a bunch of rubbing plates in there. So they can take the sheets of paper and place them over the rubbing plates, and they can make rubbings with those. And then clipboards were another thing that were really important to me. So I got these mini clipboards. Let's see. You could also put the half sheets of paper on there in advance. So I have mini whiteboards. I found these on Amazon, but they often have them at other places, office supply places and things like that. So these are the basics of my writing center, right? And then I also have, and I wanted the writing center to be close to art. Obviously, I can kind of combine my art and my writing center. But there's the easels, these do-it-yourself easels. These are little ledges, picture ledges from IKEA that Tom just screwed into the doors here. And those doors are locked when the children are in the room, so they don't open. And I just put some cookie sheets up there and hot glued some clothespins. And I love clothespins on my easel because the kids just have to push to change the paper and they don't need me. So I have 2 of those. And then I have the paint sticks out there, but you could put anything out there. So there's room for 2 little paint cups, 1 on each side, however you want to do it. But so now I have these, I should say, easels right next to my vertical writing center. So they could use markers, pencils. I also have crayons. Don't worry, I didn't forget the crayons. I have crayons at the table. There's also pencils in there. You could also put scissors. So what I'm doing with my writing center now is I am rotating out some of the things that I used to keep there all the time. So there's my caddy with my pencil cups in there, or crayon cups, I should say. So I have that at the table, which is right next to, you can see how close it is to the writing center, right? And they can take a clipboard and they can sit anywhere or they can go to the table, however they want to do it. I find that they love the clipboards, or they can go to the easel, however they prefer to do it, right? And then if I need anything else, like some of the other things that I used to keep all the time in my writing center, I'm going to rotate those out. So things like my ABC stamps, my alphabet stamps, those are always a huge hit, but I can rotate those out. My sandpaper letters, I actually started with the sandpaper letters in here instead of the rubbing plates, but then I decided that I was jumping ahead too quick, so I switched to the rubbing plates. Paper punches, I always like my alphabet paper punches, but those are for a little bit later in the year, so I can pull those out. Doodle boards, those little, what are they? You use a little magnetic writing tool on them, kind of like Etch-a-Sketch maybe. And then my greeting cards, that was always like my secret weapon. And so I'm thinking about getting another little bin. They had some other sizes and maybe finding a place for some of the greeting cards to put in here because they love cutting those. And then I can put the scissors in the crayon cups because I have to monitor those. Where did you get the oil pan? Asked Debbie. At the auto parts store. So they are traditionally used to put underneath cars when you change the oil. So yeah, go to your local, oh, thanks, Amelia, Magnadoodles. That's the word I was looking for. So go to your local auto supply store, and this oil pan was $10. So a good investment. Now the magnetic little cups here that you see, those are not dirt cheap, but you, if you're lucky, you may have picked up something like this during the Target Dollar Spot back to school sales. I found a bunch of these magnetic type containers at the Target Dollar Spot at back to school, and I didn't buy them. Oh my goodness. You can believe that I was bummed when I finally decided to do this because they were gone. And then if you have a Daiso near you, or Daiso, oh, I forget. But they have a lot of these magnetic containers because this is a very common thing that they do in Japan, I guess, is because they have small living spaces. They do a lot of vertical stuff. So they have a lot of these types of magnetic holders for $1.50 a piece. I got the ones shown here, I believe, at the Container Store, but in my Amazon shop, I have something very, very similar to these made by a different company. They look almost identical. So yeah. Some people say that Walmart doesn't carry the oil pans anymore. I think it really just depends. But go to your auto supply store, places like O'Reilly and there's so many different auto parts stores out there, and they carry them. And thank you for the comment on the floors. The floors are brand new. They went in last weekend, and we are loving them so far. So yeah, that's the vertical writing center. And then I'll just rotate out some of the more unique items. These are just the basic types of materials that are available to kids, and they come and go. Yes, I do have a table, Pamela. I let them choose what they do here, so it's open-ended art. There's it's just completely up to them how they use the materials. And then I'll rotate in and out scissors and the ABC stamps and the pasting pieces. I have the pasting, oops, sorry, I don't have the pasting pieces here. I shared those with you last week. Yeah, so there's those. And what else do I have on the list here? Oh, the old greeting cards and the doodle boards and the paper punches and the sandpaper letters. I will rotate those out. Yeah, so this is really fun, and a lot of people might say, I haven't seen anyone say this yet, but the kids are going to take these off and make a big mess, but they're really hard to get off. When I was putting the labels on, I took a few of them off just to get the label in position better, and there were a few I had to use two hands with. So I don't, the kids have not taken them down yet. I think that it's going to be a little too difficult. Yes. Mini chalkboards. Oh yes, absolutely. And those will probably be easier to find, right? Than the whiteboards. Yes, absolutely. Hi, Shelly. All right. Yeah, I have a very small classroom, Anne-Marie, so I have to be very creative and come up with ideas that will definitely save space. I had an IKEA easel. It was fantastic, but when it was set up, it took up way too much space in this tiny room. So Tom drilled somebody was asking about how this works. So Tom bought the oil drip pan at the auto parts store, and then he drilled it into the wall. So you can see right there. So I know that some of you that have cinder block walls, that probably won't work. And you could try the industrial Velcro, but once all these markers and the whiteboards get on there and the clipboards, it does get pretty heavy. So I'm not certain that that would hold up. But that's how we attached it to the wall here, and that's how I did it. In my circle time area, only the board is flipped in the landscape instead of the portrait. Hey Regina, this is my new vertical writing center. What do you think? No space for the writing center, so I stuck it on the wall. And yeah, and so the kids can, of course, as with all the centers, they're open-ended and they can, do open-ended art with these items or writing. I like to combine the art and the writing center together because they are so similar and a lot of the materials cross over. So Katie says she's had luck drilling into cinder block using anchors or mollies. Good for you. Yeah, our school wouldn't let us drill into the cinder block. Yeah. So these are like picture ledges, like you're supposed to display like pictures on your wall in your house. And they are also from IKEA. I think they were like $5 or something, or maybe 10 at the most. And then Tom just screwed those right into the doors there. And then these are just cookie sheets. I got some really heavy duty cookie sheets, not the cheap kind, because I needed something that would go at an angle, not just straight up and down. So it works really well for us. Yeah, the painting easel Noel, they have those at IKEA and they're actually quite good. I just didn't have the room. The holders here, they came from the Container Store, but you can also find them on Amazon. So Tom has dropped a link to my Amazon shop in the comments for you below. And if you're watching live, those links will be active when we're done, and I'll also add them to the video description for you so that they all be clickable. But right now when we're live, they're not always clickable. Yeah. All right. Noelle says she has a very small classroom too. Yes, I have a blog post about my writing center, and I added the directions on how I did this to that blog post. So Tom has dropped a link to that for you below. And then I also have the center sign. It's a little too high here, but the words are for the adults anyway, but those are also in my shop. Just look for center signs at Pre-K Pages. Yes, I'm always looking for ways to save space in this tiny classroom. So let me flip the camera back around. Okay, all right guys, so that was just a little sneak peek of my classroom redo. I reorganized it a little bit, moved a few centers around to make the space fit more stuff, but without being too crowded. So anyway, I thought I would do the tour, a full tour with the new floors next week. And I also have a really fun, cool freebie for you next week too. So when I do the classroom tour, make sure you come back. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, make sure you come back next Monday, and I will be here giving you the full classroom tour with the new floors and some of the rearranged centers and things. And I also have a really, really cool freebie, and it's a freebie, but it took me 3 weeks to make. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I think you're gonna love it. So come back next week, see the full classroom tour, and I hope that you got some ideas that you can take back and use in your classroom for your writing/art center. And if you know anybody who also struggles with small spaces or just finding space for what they need to have in the classroom, then go ahead and share this broadcast with them. So thanks a lot for watching. I'm Vanessa Levin from Pre-K Pages, and I will see you all next Monday. Bye.